He landed at the military airfield, where Nicaraguan soldiers were waiting to load the drugs and refuel the plane. But the whole operation took a dangerous turn when Seal tried to use one of the cameras the CIA had hidden on board his plane.
This camera was supposed to be in a soundproof box, but as soon as they took the first picture, everybody could hear it. So Barry, being as intelligent as he was, he started all the generators inside of the aircraft to cover up the sound of the camera going.
We have a photograph where Pablo Escobar helping Nicaraguan soldiers load cocaine onto an airplane to come back to the U.S. You can't get much better evidence than that.
The White House was extremely interested to show that, hey, the Nicaraguan government, the Sandinistas, were financing their economy through the drug trade. And we had definite proof that they were doing it.
In Washington, a DEA official was asked to go to the old executive office building and brief a White House official, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North.
Oliver North asked about the fact, could the investigation be disclosed to the public? And I think that related to the fact that there was a vote in Congress that was imminent, whether the Congress was going to support the Contras against the Sandinista or not.
Oliver North was running the covert operation to supply the Nicaraguan Contras, who were backed by the White House in their efforts to topple the Sandinistas.
Later, I had 2 telephone conversations with Colonel North. He called me to more or less go over the agent's head and ask that we do consider disclosing the investigation. At the time, I explained to him virtually the same thing the agent had told him, that public disclosure at this time would not be beneficial, that it would stop our investigation.
But 2 weeks later, the story did appear in the press. It is not clear who ordered the leak, and Oliver North has denied to Frontline any direct or indirect involvement.
But it led to Ronald Reagan holding that photograph up in front of TV cameras.
I know every American parent concerned about the drug problem will be outraged to learn that top Nicaraguan government officials are deeply involved in drug trafficking. This picture, secretly taken at a military airfield outside Managua, shows Federico Vaughn, a top aide to one of the 9 commandantes who rule Nicaragua, loading an aircraft with illegal narcotics bound for the United States.
Every one of them came through.
When in 1979, Pablo Escobar struck up a partnership with Carlos Lehder, it was a significant milestone in the history of the cocaine industry. It was Lehder who persuaded Escobar to begin using bigger planes to shift bigger cargoes of drugs. To avoid American airspace, they flew to the Bahamas, where the cocaine cargo could be broken up into smaller parcels and smuggled into the U.S. It was in the Bahamas that they encountered Robert Vesco.
Robert Vesco was one of the first world-class criminals who understood moving money and understood the industrialization of crime. Vesco is the person who taught Lehder that doing cocaine smuggling on a flight at a time was not a good idea.
So Escobar and Lehder purchased an island off the Bahamas called Norman's Key.
They would fly large plane loads of cocaine to Norman's Key, store it in a refrigerated warehouse, and then use small planes to transship it all over the United States.
The slaughter of half the members of the Supreme Court was part of a relentless campaign of murder and intimidation.
When I was ambassador down there, the judge would be assigned a narcotics case. Within a very, very short time, a bright, young, well-dressed lawyer would show up with, first of all, a briefcase in which he would lay a plain brown envelope on the judge's desk, right?
They tell a man you have a choice. You can have lead, bullet in your head, or silver. Some money is a payoff, and it's your call.
Then the bright young lawyer would reach in his briefcase and take out a photograph album.
And it'd be a photo album of everybody in their lives they considered to be near and dear.
There'd be a photograph of the judge's home, and a photograph of the judge's family, of his parents.
Shots of their children. Children coming out of their home in the morning, going to school, playing in the playground, talking to their friends.
So the implications are very clear.
Cooperate with us or you and your family will be dead.
The most important is Max Mermelstein. Today there's a contract on his life, and he appears here in disguise.
I was the only American that ever sat on the council of the Medellín Cartel. Living undercover and wearing disguises is necessary. There's still an in effect $3 million contract on my head. I personally am responsible for bringing 56 tons of cocaine into the United States, shipped out $300 million of their profits. I also paid out over $100 million in their expenses here in the United States. And when I decided to cooperate with the government, Escobar wanted me dead.
Escobar and his new partners came to be known as the Medellín Cartel. The cartel divided up the U.S. market with its competitors from the Colombian city of Cali.
The Cali folks operated primarily out of New York, whereas the Medellín people operated in Miami, and they made a division out in Los Angeles between the two.
Soon, the Medellín Cartel was running 5 flights a week into the U.S., and Escobar would be making $1 million a day.
The average person can appreciate how rapidly the money was made, but it was not unusual for $12 and $13 million to be transported back and forth in private jet planes.
It's smiling at us. If you had $250,000 in your pocket, wouldn't you be smiling then?
The money was rolling in so fast and became such a problem because of its volume and bulk that just to make things go faster, we used to weigh it, quick estimate. We'd separate everything in its own denominations. And one bill, U.S. currency, is approximately a gram.